Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing a brand new tag. This is the Hurricanes, Tornadoes, and Blizzards, oh my, original tag about the weather. This tag was created by my friend Michelle at Literary Me, and I was tagged by Michelle. Michelle said in her notes to her video, I was inspired by my fellow booktubers, such as Dee at the Reading Room 1972, to create an original tag. I'm putting this one up on a Sunday in case anyone wants to do it for Tag Tuesday. Well, that's exactly what I'm doing. So thank you, Michelle, for creating this tag and for tagging me. These prompts are all about weather and natural disasters and how they are used in literature. Number one, how do you think an extreme weather event such as a hurricane, tornado, or blizzard impacts the plot of a book? Well, I think it impacts the plot of a book immensely. If an author chooses to put a natural disaster in his or her story, chances are there's a good reason for that natural or even unnatural weather event. Usually, fiction that revolves around something going on in the weather is inviting us to explore themes like survival, the human's resilience in the face of all kinds of natural disasters or difficulties. It sometimes asks us to think about humanity's place in the natural world. Okay, number two, name a book you've enjoyed where some type of natural disaster or storm played a role in the story. The first thing that came to mind was Zora Neale Hurston's novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God. And in fact, the title of the novel comes from a scene where the main characters are witnessing an incredible hurricane. It happens late in the novel, but this hurricane has just a tremendously negative impact on the main characters, and it affects the rest of the plot. That was the first thing that came to mind. The second thing that came to mind was one of my favorite mystery writers. I love Anne Cleeve's Vera Stanhope novels, and this one just stuck with me, The Darkest Evening. And this is a novel that features a blizzard. Our main character, Vera Stanhope, is traveling down a road in the middle of a terrible blizzard, and she's like barely able to control the car. She sees a car off to the side of the road. This all happens, in the first chapters of the book, and she pulls over to see if somebody needs help. Actually, the car is sort of off the road, and she finds that the car has been abandoned, but there's a small child that's been left inside the car, and that sets off that's sort of the inciting incident that sets off the rest of the plot. Number three, have you ever experienced a weather event that had a lasting impact on you or was a memorable time in your life? So many. Just last week, I was a guest on my friend Elaine's live stream at Cobalt Dragon, and we were having a major thunder and lightning storm here. My power was flickering on and off, and trees were falling down around my house. And I think we were hit by some kind of a microburst in the middle of this storm, and it did incredible damage. So that's just a very recent weather event that's very much on my mind. We're also in the middle of an ungodly heat wave, and will be probably for the rest of the week. So that's another one. But where I live, we've also been hit very, very badly by several recent hurricanes. We had massive damage to my complex where I live during Hurricane Ida. During Hurricane Irene, we had massive flooding in the town where I live, and we were also without power for over a week. And Hurricane Sandy, which also occurred late fall, we were without power in this whole region for, I think it went to 9 days. And, schools were closed, roads were impassable. So all of those hurricanes are very, very prominent in my mind. When I was younger, I can remember, graduating from high school almost in July because we had such horrendous snowstorms and blizzards that year that we had missed so much school because roads were impassable for days, that we had to make up all this time at the end of the year, and we ended up graduating almost. It was the very, very end of June, and that was a whole winter of blizzards. So I have a lot of weather events that are very prominent in my mind. Number 4, what is your favorite type of book to curl up with while a storm is raging outside? Thriller, romance, memoir? I think I would probably say mysteries. If I'm curling up to ride out a storm, I'm going to say I would like to curl up with a mystery. And in addition to Anne Cleeves, some other mystery writers that I really love, Louise Penny. I've been reading her for a very, very long time. And the classic Agatha Christie. And most recently, I've been reading all of the Miss Marple novels. I've got a whole bunch of these. But this is a great. She's a great author to curl up with, during any kind of natural event. Okay, number 5. Name a book character you've enjoyed who had to overcome or endure a weather-related hardship. Well, certainly in Their Eyes Were Watching God, which I talked about, I talked about the hurricane earlier. Janie and her husband Tea Cake are 2 characters whose lives are completely changed because of this hurricane that they endure. But most recently, I just finished a reread of John Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. Now, there are a lot of big weather events happening in this book. We've got dust storms, we've got drought, and then at the end of the novel, there are days and days and days of torrential rains and massive flooding that affects, all of the characters in the novel, but most especially I'm thinking of the Joad family, and I'm thinking specifically of Ma and Pa Joad and what they do to try to protect the family and fight off the storm, and their eldest daughter Rosa Sharon, who experiences unbelievable hardship during this final storm in the novel. Okay, number 6. If you were told to evacuate your home, which 3 books are in your go bag and why? I think if I had to leave my home because of a natural disaster, I probably wouldn't actually be picking up these large books that I'm about to talk about, just because I think they would just be too heavy to carry. But for the sake of the prompt, if I knew I was not going to be able to get back into my house for a period of time because of a weather-related event, I would take with me, and this will come as no surprise, Mary Oliver's Devotions, because this is a poetry book that I read around in all the time. So I would want that with me. If I were just looking to, be able to kind of keep my mind occupied and keep myself entertained, I might take the Norton Anthology of Short Fiction, because it's just got hundreds, well, not hundreds, I think it's got like about 150 or so short stories in here, and it's just an awesome collection, and they're classic short stories. And I think I would also take another anthology of the Wesleyan Anthology of Science Fiction, also filled with, this one has 150 years worth of science fiction, short fiction. And this book was a gift to me from Michael K. Vaughan. So I think those would keep me entertained and maybe keep my mind occupied if I were going to have to be away from home for any length of time. But they weigh a ton, the three of those. I don't know that I would realistically be putting them in a go bag. Okay. Number 7, if you were writing a novel and had to use one of the following, hurricane, blizzard, tornado, or wildfire in the story, which would you choose and why? Probably hurricanes, just because that's what I've had the most experience with. We've been badly hit by a number of hurricanes over the past several years. It's probably what I have the most experience with. Maybe blizzards. I mean, not so much lately. We haven't had big blizzards in recent years, but we certainly have had more than our share, and I've seen more than my share in my life. So probably just because those are things I know about, that's what I would choose if I were writing a novel. And then number 8, is there a book on your current TBR that features some type of inclement weather or natural disaster? Yes, this is a book that I'm considering for my Rocket Summer reading, and this is a novel entitled The Drowned World by J.G. Ballard. And I have a bunch of things that I'm thinking about for Rocket Summer, but this would fit into the last week of Rocket Summer, which is to read some classic science fiction from the 1960s. This novel was written in 1962, and it's about a horrific, terrifying future where global warming has melted the ice caps, and there are Triassic era jungles overrunning various parts of the earth, and in the novel, London has become sort of a tropical jungle, and within that jungle comes all of the kind of wildlife that one might anticipate finding in a jungle as well. So that's something that I'm thinking about for the 1960s, for the week devoted to the 1960s. Would certainly fit this tag. And then finally, tag some friends. So I'm going to tag a bunch of people, as I always do, in the notes below. But if you are watching, I hope that you will consider yourself tagged if this is something that you would like to do. I think, just from what I'm hearing people talk about in many parts of the world, many parts of BookTube, people are experiencing right now some pretty extreme weather events. So this might, this has a lot of appeal, I think. So anyway, please consider yourself tagged if this is appealing to you. And thank you again, Michelle, for creating such a great tag, and thank you for tagging me. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.